lot of fear has come into the cryptocurrency space, but I've got real bad news. It could get significantly worse. We've got these repeating patterns that are happening right below your nose, and they repeat in the same exact order. And every time they repeat, the same move happens for Bitcoin. It's devastating. And I'm going to show you right now, right here, so you can leave this video with a sense of clarity, because I'm going to break down the move that we're in right now. And if this pattern repeats, I'm going to share with you a strategy that could save you. Take a look. Back in 2021, this was the market cycle top. In simple terms, we had a red circle followed by the green, followed by the red, okay? And when you look at today's world, we had the same thing, red followed by green, followed by red. But it's not just red and green, it's not just the circles and the squares. Take a closer look. In 2021, we had bearish divergence. What is that? That means we made a high in price and then we made a higher high, while at the same time, the indicator made a high and then a lower high. This is rare to happen. It's called bearish divergence. It often marks the market cycle tops. Take a look at what we just did. We had a high price here and then a higher high. Wow, pretty similar to 2021. What about the indicator? Well, the indicator made a high and a lower high. It made the exact same pattern. But what if we took a closer look? Actually, this pattern played out between 300 days, meaning we had this high and this higher high 300 days later. Oh, that's interesting, because that's exactly what we just did. Yeah, this circle right here and this circle right here are 300 days apart. You mean that really rare thing that's called bearish divergence happened exactly the same way and exactly the same pattern? Oh yeah, and it gets better. What's this rectangle, this green rectangle? What the hell is that? Well, we mentioned we've got 300 days difference between these bearish divergence, and smack dab in the middle, 150 days, right in the middle of both, we had this anomaly where price action actually went below this green line. It was very strange. So we put it in this green box. What did we do this time? Oh, that's right. We did the exact same thing. Where an anomaly happened, the price went below this green line, exactly in between our two bearish divergence. This pattern is repeating every single move. Every time we make a move, the same exact pattern repeats. And then when we make that pattern, the same exact move happens next. So this is exactly the move that's about to happen next. And I'm going to share with you a strategy that could help save you from the turmoil, and an exclusive look at what could change everything, what could save it all. Because if Bitcoin does this one thing, it could break that pattern in half, and it would send prices exploding to the upside. And in this video, I'm going to share with you exactly what to look for if you want that to happen. Let's get into it. Do you wish you were making more money in crypto? Do you want to recover those bad losses? Don't you just wish that there was buy and sell alerts that could be sent to your phone?
I had major problems with my investments.
I was trading primarily with emotions.
I got stuck in trades because I didn't know what I was doing.
I was just investing my money and just throwing it into the abyss.
The key is right here in front of you. Get money-making buy and sell alerts directly to your phone.
And now with Steve's plan, I'm actually up 32,000.
I experienced my first big winning trades, over 100% gain.
So easy to understand. This was literally changing my life. It was changing my family's life.
This thing is a game changer. Your transformation happens today.
Don't be scared. Take the leap. It is amazing. It'll change your life. It changed mine.
So here we are, Bitcoin US dollar index, and today we're on the weekly chart. On the weekly chart, we've got laid out in front of us one of the most explosive moves to happen in this pattern, repeating move for move, pound for pound. It's shocking. It's an anomaly, and we are going to dig into it. So as we look at it, we've got a couple things on our charts. We've got price action above, and we've simply identified, the high here and the higher high here. We've identified this move below. We've identified the 300 days in between these two moves, and we've identified that this is smack dab in the middle at 150. We're using in the middle of our screen the RSI. Keep in mind, the RSI goes from 0 up to 100, meaning 0 is really oversold and 100 is really, really overbought. And everything in between there, the 50 is in the middle. And what you see happening here is Bitcoin got so overextended with this first high that we had, which is exactly the same pattern we did in 2021. Look at how high the RSI got on the weekly scale. You can see it right clear as day with your eyes. Do you know what will help you? If I zoom out and I show you 12 years of history with Bitcoin, actually, it's more than 12 years. We're talking about 15 years. If you look at the 15-year history, how many times have we been this high or higher? Yeah, you can count them on one hand. So that high in 2021, that was the first part of this pattern to repeat. That's exactly what we did here. Because in March of 2024, I sat here in this chair and we talked about this high. This was unsustainable. And everyone thought we were just about to hit 100,000 any day. It was actually a couple hundred days later that we were able to do that. And before that happened, this is what happened. You can see at the bottom of our screen, we have the stochastic RSI, our momentum, which also has a range of 0 up to 100. But the difference between the stochastic RSI and the RSI is the stochastic RSI is our momentum and the RSI is really overbought, oversold. It's our way as traders, as disciplined traders, to look at the market and say, hey, are more people buying right now or are more people selling, especially if it's at historic levels? And essentially, this one just means that an historic amount of people were buying. And you may think, oh my God, I thought we're supposed to buy when an historic amount of people are buying. No, you always want to do the opposite of a high majority, which is why the RSI is so powerful. You just simply look at it, it tells you what all the humans are doing, and then you try to do the opposite. And then you use your momentum to really play chess when everyone else is playing checkers. Now, this is where it gets interesting because back about 8 months ago, we were getting ready for this move right here. We were down in this green box. We were down in the dumps, and everyone was wondering, what's going to happen next? We already knew what was going to happen next because Bitcoin has been repeating these same exact patterns from 2021. So I sat right here in this chair, and I told everybody about that weekly stochastic RSI cross that was coming. The inevitable was about to happen. And this is what I had to say 8 months ago. Roll the clip. And the only thing that's going to save the day is the weekly stochastic RSI. That has the capability to lead Bitcoin to a new all-time high. The problem is once we get to a new all-time high, we're going to need to avoid ridiculously strong bearish divergence. That means the weekly RSI has to make a higher high, higher than 88, something that it's only done a few times in the history of Bitcoin. So you can see in that clip, the whole video was about, hey, we've got a weekly stochastic RSI happening. It's going to come. It only happens once or twice a year. It always sends prices up. What I want you to do is be ready for Bitcoin to get to an all-time high. Just take a deep breath. It's likely that the stochastic RSI will get us to an all-time high. However, once we get there, it's highly likely that we will have bearish divergence. 8 months ago, nobody wanted to believe me. Nobody wanted to even believe that that was even possible, that Bitcoin could reach some sort of pattern that it did in 2021. But what they didn't expect is it played out the exact same way. After each pattern, the exact same thing happened, and everyone was shocked. Do you wish you were making more money in crypto? Do you want to recover those bad losses? Don't you just wish that there was buy and sell alerts that could be sent to your phone? Well, today, your dream is a reality My indicator bundle is a one-time payment and unlock it for life. Get money-making buy and sell alerts directly to your phone. It works for Bitcoin and all altcoins. It's great for day traders, swing traders, and long-term holders. Whether you've been in crypto for 10 minutes or 10 years, sign up now and make 5 times more in this cycle with my indicator bundle. Best of all, this is the largest ever discount we have ever had on the indicator bundle. The problem? It's only for a limited time. Save an extra $250 off when you sign up with crypto. This is your chance to start dominating. CryptoCrewUniversity.com. Don't miss out. Clock is ticking. This is why in today's video, I'm really going to break it down so you leave this video with a strategy that will help you make significantly more money. And by the way, the strategy, free. I come on here, I spit facts, I spit the truth, and I try to help people. Now, what we have in our hands is I'm going to break this down a little more in detail because what is about to happen next could get ugly. But once again, there is a way that Bitcoin could break this pattern. It could break this pattern that's been repeating for more than 300 days. And if Bitcoin breaks this pattern, it's going to send prices skyrocketing. There's one scenario where that would take place. And I'm going to tell you exactly what to look for in the charts. And you can see that pattern happening early. And if it does, you're going to see prices shoot up, but you're going to be able to get in early without missing that huge trade. In order to really break it down, we're going to break down the science of it, the psychological aspects of this move, this repeating pattern that we're in. We're just finished our red circle. You can see what happened when we finished our red circle before. It didn't end pretty, but we had this box here, and that box happened right down here with the stochastic RSI, and that is where we're going to dig into. What I want you to do is take a mental screenshot of where we're at right now with price action just getting below this green moving average. By the way, we've got price action here. If you want to know what this green moving average is, it's called the 21 SMA. So if you go to your indicators and you type in SMA, simple moving average will come up. You pop that bad boy on, you go into your settings, and you click on 21 for the length. All right. You can change the style of the color to match mine if you wish, but that's how to set up this green line so that you're clear. We've got price action with the green line, middle of our screen, RSI. Now you know overbought, oversold, range of 0 to 100, and the bottom of our screen, stochastic RSI. Set that bad boy on and just simply put on the weekly chart. It'll show up just like this. One thing to note with the stochastic RSI, about 2 times per year, we will have a weekly cross in the stochastic RSI, and every year it marks the 2 biggest moves of the year. This is trading made simple. A lot of people are like, oh my God, the day-to-day, the hourly chart, the 4-hour chart, throw all that in the garbage. That's where it belongs. Bitcoin makes 2 big moves a year. When the stochastic RSI crosses. It's a simple game. It's the game I taught you 8 months ago. We were sitting here and I said, hey, watch for the stochastic RSI cross. Bitcoin was at 50,000. I just gave you one thing. Watch for the stochastic RSI cross. Probably going to bring us to a new all-time high. However, watch out for the bearish divergence. What happened? We had a weekly stochastic RSI right on schedule. It took us from 50,000 to over 100,000, and it marked bearish divergence right on schedule. The pattern repeated. Now, let's dig into the 2021 move, shall we? So when we go back in time, you can see that this was that price point that started it all for the pattern in 2021. We made a high of about 38,000. The reason why it's noteworthy is that is the pivot high of our RSI, overbought, oversold, which means at this point right here, all the humans were buying, and you want to do the opposite of all the humans, so you're taking profits, right? So what happens at that time is price actually made a higher high, which is very rare because our indicator made a lower high. That's pretty rare. That only happens once in a while. In an unfortunate event for Bitcoin, It happens to mark the market cycle top. It did so in 2013. In my next video later today, I'm going to show you this chart. So make sure you subscribe. That one you do not want to miss. But when you look at the bearish divergence, it's 300 days apart, okay? Where we made a high and a higher high. And you can look at the indicator. We made a high and a lower high in our indicator. It was clear as day that something was wrong. When you look at divergence, divergence simply tells us, traders and investors, that something is seriously off, okay? When you have one that makes a high and a higher high and our indicators make a high and a lower high, that's called bearish divergence. It's not only that something's off, it tells us that we're about to crash to the downside, okay? Whereas the opposite is true on bullish divergence. I sat right here in this chair at the bottom of our market and told everybody to buy at 15, 16, 17,000 because we had what's called bullish divergence, where price makes a low and then it goes even lower while our indicator makes a low and goes even higher. Again, whenever the indicator is doing the opposite of price action, it's an anomaly. It tells us as traders and investors something's wrong. And then you look if it's bullish or bearish. In this case, it was bullish. And nobody wanted to believe me that 15, 16, 17,000 was time to buy. And then we went to 100,000, right? So this is the power of divergence. Now, when we dig into it further, I really want to hone in on this move because that's what's about to happen for Bitcoin. And I'm going to tell you how Bitcoin could potentially avoid it to explode prices. We get these two red circles. We get that they're 300 days apart. We get that in the middle, there was another anomaly where price action suddenly went below this green line, which it hadn't done, right? If you look at 2021, this whole move here, we were above the green line except for the COVID crash. Right? After the COVID crash of 2020, we were above this green line forever until the market cycle topped. And then we were suddenly below it here, which was oddly and mysteriously right in between our two bearish divergences. Something that's incredibly noteworthy because what happened next is we completed our move. We completed this bearish divergence, and after we did, we suddenly saw this collapse in price below our green moving average. Remember that one we put on earlier, that SMA, the 21 that you changed to green? Yeah, as soon as we had that top, we crashed below here in epic fashion. Why is that important? Well, that's precisely what we just did. Right on schedule, right on cue, and caught everybody by surprise once again. These patterns repeat, and it catches everybody by surprise. It's been happening for years. Do you wish you were making more money in crypto? Do you want to recover those bad losses? Don't you just wish that there was buy and sell alerts that could be sent to your phone?
I had major problems with my investments.
I was trading primarily with emotions.
I got stuck in trades because I didn't know what I was doing.
I was just investing my money and just throwing it into the abyss.
The key is right here in front of you. Get money-making buy and sell alerts directly to your phone.
And now with Steve's plan, I'm actually up 32,000.
I experienced my first big winning trades, over 100% gain.
So easy to understand. This was literally changing my life. It was changing my family's life.
This thing is a game changer. Your transformation happens today.
Don't be scared. Take the leap. It is amazing. It'll change your life. It changed mine.
But not you anymore. You're subscribed to this channel and you come here for the facts and now you're like, ooh, I get it now. Could this be it, right? Well, let's dig into it because we can see clear as day. We're not making this up. We've got candles below this green line. That's not my opinion. That's a bona fide fact. What happened after this move completed? The exact same thing. But here is the key. What happened is we dipped below here. We started holding this green line as resistance. At the same time that we dipped below here, we were waiting for that epic weekly stochastic RSI cross. The one that happens once or twice a year, the one that marks all these big moves in crypto. Yeah, that one. That's the one I want you to watch because keep in mind, this is 2021. We had that top we fell below, we started holding it as resistance. We were waiting for that stochastic RSI cross, which happened here in our red box below with our stochastic RSI. Now we had that epic cross, but what happened at that point is the writing was on the wall. Bitcoin was already falling apart and there was nothing it could do to save the day. So we did have a rally. We had a rally from about 33,000, and that was the last ditch effort. That was the last hurrah. It went up almost 50% with that stochastic RSI cross. But this is what's referred to as a failed rally, meaning this rally that we had with this stochastic RSI cross, it created a higher high, which is really good. That's what you want to do. You want to continuously create higher highs and higher lows. If you do that a few times, that's called a bull run, or that's called an upward move. That's called a momentous move to the upside. Same is true for the downside. If you're continually creating lower highs, this is a high, this is a lower high, this is another lower high, this is another lower high, this is another. If you're continuously doing that, it's called a downtrend. It's pretty simple, right? What happens during this move is so important. Pay close attention. We had this stochastic RSI cross. Momentum came into the market. We went from 33,000. We started rallying. Everyone at this time is going to chant the same thing. Oh, you see, the bull run is back. We're going to the moon. Everybody pile on. Get in your favorite meme coins. Everybody buy, buy, buy. There's going to be pandemonium all over the market. People are going to be chanting. You always want to do the opposite, because we did have an epic move, but it was a failed rally, and it got resistance from our green line. What used to be our support for the whole bull run is now our dirty resistance, and it basically just pushed our head down and we plummeted in price. That was the epic failure that happened next in this pattern, okay? It was a breakdown followed by resistance, followed by stochastic RSI cross, huge rally, everybody exciting, but it was a failed rally. It did not create a higher high. It did not go higher than this. Therefore, it was a failed rally. And the writing was on the wall, and the rest was history. So here's what's happening right now today. So far, this pattern has been on point, and yours truly warned you of this 8 months ago when we were dealing with this stochastic RSI cross that brought us from 49,000 way up past 100,000. Before that happened, we rewind the clocks and we go to that 70K area. When we are at 70K, we were far overextended. The market was so overbought, it was not even funny. And we looked at the 15-year history and we said, oh, it's only been this high or higher a handful of times in our entire existence. And I sat here in this chair and I said, just pump the brakes a little bit. We are overextended. And we had a pretty epic crash from 70 down below 50K, right? And people got worried, but we weren't worried. We held market structure. You can see the market structure here in the RSI clear as day. And then we dip below this green line, something that's an anomaly, something that's a huge red flag, something that happened exactly in the same manner, because we've already pointed out these red circles are 300 days apart. The red circles of today are 300 days apart. And this green rectangle is right in the middle of our red circle. Where was it in 2021? Right in the middle of our red circle. What happened in 2021? Price action below the green line. What happened in this green rectangle? Price action below the green line. It's pound for pound, move for move. The pattern is repeating. History is repeating. So when we dig into it, we say, okay, we get it. 300 days apart, we get it. This 150 days, we get it. Price action below the green line. Now, what does it mean for the move right now? Well, this is what it means. We are gearing up for an epic move. We're gearing up for the most important move of the bull run. We're gearing up for Bitcoin's time to shine and the truth to rise to the top. This is what we're waiting for. Now, I'm going to break down a strategy. I'm going to break down what you should look for first, and then I'm going to tell you how Bitcoin could avoid all of this and actually break this pattern in half. And if it does, it will shoot prices upward in a tremendous fashion. So let's break down both points. Let's break down the strategy first, and then does Bitcoin have any way to save the day? Strategy. Now, pay close attention because we have price action below this green line. What I want you to pay attention to first and foremost is this green line, the 21 SMA. Are we continuing to hold this as resistance? Why is that important? Well, last time we broke this pattern, we held it as resistance for multiple weeks in a row. That's the last thing we want to happen right now because we know what happened after that. We held it multiple weeks in a row, and then we crashed. It was an epic crash. It wasn't a tiny crash. This was an epic crash of about 35%. Keep in mind, that was after about a 35% crash from the top. So we crashed about 35%, then we crashed another 35% after we had resistance here. We've already done the first half of this pattern. We've already crashed what percent? About 30%. Right on schedule, right on cue. We've done exactly what we did in 2021's top, which is brutal. It's just brutal. I've got to be honest. It's just brutal. So the last thing we want to do is continue to hold resistance. That would be a red flag. Now, if that were to happen, there's still a way Bitcoin could save the day, and this is where the strategy comes in. What I want you to do is pay close attention, and pay close attention for our stochastic RSI cross. Because once again, these things happen once or twice a year. They typically mark the largest move of that year, plain and simple. And I'm here to tell you, Bitcoin is going to have a stochastic RSI cross. This is not my opinion. This is inevitable. If you like charts, you study charts, you can see we're going to have one. I'm not saying we're going to have one today or tomorrow. That's irrelevant. It's coming in the coming weeks, hopefully not in the multitude of months. If we stayed down here, we could have an epic crash before it comes. We don't want that to happen. But what I want you to do is watch the stochastic RSI cross. And if Bitcoin were able to get above its prior swing high of about, what was it, 108,000? If Bitcoin were to have a stochastic RSI cross and then make a new all-time high, we could be in a golden era of a huge explosive move. In anything outside of that, any other scenario is just an epic failure for Bitcoin. Any other move outside of Bitcoin creating a new all-time high with a stochastic RSI cross will be a failed rally. What's a failed rally? It means that we rallied, but we didn't rally as high as our prior swing high. That would be an absolute pattern repeat of what happened before. You can see epic stochastic RSI cross here, 50% rally. It rallied up. Everybody got super excited. But it was clearly not higher than this one, which is a failed rally. It actually rallied up to the green line and then held resistance. That's also something to keep in mind. So to protect yourself, what happens if this pattern repeats and we have a failed rally? Get the hell out of the way, because from this failed rally to the bottom, it was another 60-something% crash. So you could save yourself. If Bitcoin's next move is a failed rally, it's likely the top is in and it's time to get the hell out of the way. Plain and simple. If Bitcoin has a stochastic RSI cross and it creates a new all-time high, it will break this pattern and it will send prices exploding. However, I do have bad news, because even in the grand scenario that Bitcoin breaks this pattern and continues up, I have bad news about what would happen after that, because what would happen after that would likely be a continuation of this bearish divergence. What do I mean? Well, in crypto, we have bearish divergence typically around 200 to 300 days in between. less than a year. Every time for the history of the 15-year period, we've had 3 of them. They've all happened the same way, no different. In the stock market, we can have bearish divergence form over multiple years. Meaning, if Bitcoin were to create this high and then a higher high and then yet another higher high, while our indicator created a high, a lower high, and that next move means even lower high, that's just continuation of bearish divergence, and even stronger than having 2 data points is having 3 data points. So in Bitcoin's grand scenario where it snaps this pattern and explodes to the upside, it still needs to avoid bearish divergence. So either way, bearish divergence is here. One thing I want to make abundantly clear. This is bearish divergence. This is not up for debate. This is textbook bearish divergence. If you're watching this video and you're like, there's no way in hell Bitcoin's top is in, I've just provided ample data to the contrary. Something that you have to at least consider with an open mind, because these patterns have repeated to the T. What is different is if this is the top for Bitcoin, it happened almost 1 year early, which is odd. That's never happened before for Bitcoin, but we cannot deny this is bearish divergence. It doesn't mean that the top is in. This means we have bearish divergence. And if you want to know if the top is in, you follow the exact strategy. It could save you a tremendous amount of money, and it could make you even more. From Mark, Steve's education made all the difference. We profited $50,000. From Dr. George, in just 1 week, I made $70,000 profit using Steve's indicators. Carl, I made 300% trade with his system. CryptoCrewUniversity.com. Don't miss out. Clock is ticking.